Hey, what's up? Ian from Powerhouse Miniatures. How you doing? This is another showcase video for Sanguinius, the Primarch of the Blood Angels. So, if you've listened to my other videos, Blood Angels were my first army, and they were the ones I love them the most. I think it's just a bit of a soft spot because that's the army that I played when I was first getting into the hobby. I think I was in like year 4 or something like that. I think in school, so I was probably like 8 or 9. If you're not in the UK. And I think it was at 2nd edition back in the day, and one of my friends had a Blood Angel army, and I decided to basically, not copy him, but I wanted to do it as well. And he didn't really use the Death Company. Back in the day, the Death Company had some special rules, and it really separated them from Space Marines. It's a bit like the Space Wolves used to be, where they were Space Marines, but they had their own distinct thing going on, and Blood Angels were the same. They're still the same now, obviously. But they had a load of separate sort of rules, and it just meant that you could collect Space Marines and 40k, but then like if you wanted to play them as a regular Marine faction, you could, and if you wanted to use the Blood Angels rules, you could, and all that sort of stuff. So super cool. Always had a soft spot for the Blood Angels, and it's been my great pleasure. Sounds well pretentious, but you know, I've really enjoyed painting up Sanguinius. I've never done one before. I think apart from maybe Alfarius and Sanguinius, I've painted every single of the Forge World Primarchs at least once at some point. And one of my customers, the guy that not this guy, the one that this is going to, is actually trying to get all the Primarchs painted by me. So I've got like 2 to go, and then he'll have a collection of all the Primarchs that are currently released, which is awesome. And I'll get him to take me a picture of everything that I've done all at once. But I think like I've painted about 6 Horuses before. And like some of the popular Primarchs, but like Vulcan only once, like Ferrus Manus only one time, things like that. So anyway, it's been super cool to paint up Sanguinius. So I'm going to give you a little look. I've magnetised the spear and sword as well. So that comes away. So the wings, massive, super cool. But the miniature itself, it's true metallic metals. But I've gone for some blendings and some highlights and some of the glazes and edge highlighting that you would normally associate with non-metallic metals. And then I spent hours on the face. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Hopefully you can see that. But absolutely ages and ages on the face. So you need to be super subtle with skin tones, obviously. But because the head's quite big in the 54mm scale, you can really practice skin tone, which is super cool, and it's really good practice to do that. So I was really pleased with the way this came out. The customer absolutely loved it, which is the main thing. And he's a cool guy as well, like obviously another Blood Angels fanatic. But yeah, he was really pleased with it, and that's the main thing, obviously, that like the customer is really happy with the paint job, as much as I enjoy it, obviously. And it's been, not to sound pretentious, but it's been a great privilege to do this for a living, obviously, and I'm extremely grateful that I've been, you know, I have the opportunity and I work really hard and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, like the customer satisfaction is number 1, and I'm really pleased that he was over the moon with it. And sometimes like the feedback you get from people is a little bit not apathetic, but like it's always better when someone's like really pleased with it. And obviously this one's painted really well, so there you go, really happy with it. Just quickly as well, I've got a couple of things with the miniature. So it's a 2mm by 1mm magnet. So the gap that was in the wrist. So I'll put the old spear on. Super cool. And the benefit of the magnet is as well, you can like move easier for transport and stuff, because this is probably really this is definitely very fragile. But you can also move the posing a little bit. So if you wanted him like holding it there, you can do, obviously. And then from like the front profile of the miniature, you can see the full length of the spear. But yeah, like the wrist itself there was exactly 2mm wide and exactly 1mm deep. So if you've got a 2mm by 1mm magnet, I don't know whether they're designed that way on purpose, but I can only assume that they probably are. Designed in such a way that they're like ready for magnets, basically. Or they realise that people are gonna, like the Forge World design team and all that, they're so awesome. They've probably started to realise that people are going to magnetise those parts. And so if you've got a Sanguinius, I don't know why I say Sanguinius, I presume. I don't really know how much pronounced, like, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, if you've got a Sanguinius miniature, 2mm by 1mm round magnet fits perfectly in that gap. So I can only presume that that's deliberate, so because they know people are going to do that. So that's a really nice little touch as well. And then my last point about this miniature was, I know it's really popular, and I know, again, maybe I'm being, it's the cloud of my own enthusiasm for Blood Angels, but the miniature was 84 quid. And it doesn't come with a scenic base. And so all the other miniatures, all the other Forge World Primarchs come with like a 60mm round base with all sorts of stuff going on, like dead marines and all that sort of stuff, like on the base. And this guy doesn't, and he actually costs quite a lot more than the other Primarchs. So you can buy a scenic base with a dead, I think it's a dead demon on the base there, but I'm not necessarily sure what justifies. Like, I'm sure Vulcan's 64 quid or something, 65 quid maybe. Like Horus the War Master's £60. Well, maybe 65 at this point. I'm recording this video anyway. And so yeah, Sanguinius has got he's only got a 40mm base, no scenic base whatsoever. He's got the big wings, but that's about it, and costs 20 quid more, so I'm not quite sure what the justification for that was. But the base as well is additional, so I'm sure collectors will do it eventually. Maybe my customer will come back and get the scenic base eventually, but that was another like 40 quid, so not quite sure what's going on with that. Relatively expensive, but yeah, not sure. Maybe someone will know. If you do know why it's 84 quid and not 60 odd like the rest, drop me a comment. Always interesting to hear from people and stuff. But yeah, that's my only very slight gripe with the miniature, was that it was a little bit more expensive. But other than that, like, just amazing. And I've been waiting for this one for ages, because obviously Sanguinius and Horus is like, some of that fluff and some of the lore goes right back, for me personally, to when I personally very started collecting Warhammer. So like, it just meant a lot. The miniature itself is killer, proper cool. It's got some badass rules, all that sort of stuff. But overall, like, you know what I mean, I've said it several times now, but just for me personally, being a big Blood Angels fan and all that, they knocked it out of the park with this one. So eventually, for my own army, I probably will get this guy, and I'll get the scenic base as well, and I'll save up a little bit and I'll do it properly. But yeah, if you know why it costs more money, let me know for sure. So that's pretty much it. At this point, you can find pictures of this guy on my Instagram page and my Facebook. It's instagram.com/Powerhouse Miniatures, and then facebook.com/Powerhouse Miniatures, or powerhouseminiatures.com for a free quote on any painting project. A little shameless plug for that there. But that's pretty much it. So cheers for watching, and have a good one.